we ready?
I guess so.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for tuning into From the Cowboy State, episode 9. This is a University of Wyoming Extension Agriculture and Natural Resources podcast, and we have a special guest today, McKenna Julian from Lincoln County, formerly Uinta County, officially Lincoln County now. And we are talking all things women in agriculture. So I'm going to turn it over to McKenna, let her introduce herself, give us a little background. And she is so excited to do so.
Good morning, Michaela. So my name is McKenna Julian, and I am the Ag and Natural Resources Educator in Lincoln County.
Yes.
I was in Uinta County for about 5 years and have made the transfer up. I'm based out of the Kemmer office, so I still cover pretty much the entire southwest corner at this point. I was born and raised in western Wyoming.
Yeah.
I have near the cool backstory as some of your former guests. I went to the University of Wyoming for my undergrad in animal science, and then I went on to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for my master's degree in ruminant nutrition. I always thought I would, hang out in the Midwest, maybe Oklahoma or somewhere on a feedlot for like 5 years and do the nutrition thing.
Yeah.
And on my graduation day from my master's degree, I hopped in my car and I drove west as fast as I could. I missed western Wyoming so much.
Yeah.
So, I've been back in Wyoming in the mountains since 2018.
Very nice. And you were the 4-H educator.
I
down
did,
there.
Yep. I worked in 4-H for 3 years until an ag position came open. That's really where my passion's always been.
Yeah.
So then I switched over as quick as I could.
There you go. Fair enough. And you are not only an ag educator, you and your husband also have a sheep program, or not a sheep program, sorry. What are my words? There we go. I'm like, all I can think of was sheep task force. Sheep operation.
Yeah. So I married into a very large-scale range sheep operation in Kemmer, Wyoming. My background has always been cows. I grew up with cows, raising some breeding females, whatnot. My family has cows. And it's been an adjustment to the sheep world, but it's really no different. They're just smaller cows to me. And I love it. The range operation is really fascinating. It's kind of like stepping back in time to a world, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
The sheep camps and the wagons, and it's been great so far.
That's awesome. And we are recording this episode at the Wyoming Ram Sale.
Yeah.
The 10th of September. So just kind of a fun little special episode recording here. Yep. And this is the only ram sale in Wyoming?
This is. Yeah. This is kind of the week of ram sales. There's the whole week. There's Miles City and Hettinger and several right up here in the western part of the U.S.
Yeah. But it's something special in Wyoming, so
absolutely.
Kind of neat. So, women in agriculture. Yeah. You started that program earlier this year or last year?
It started and kicked off in March.
Okay.
And it's in its infancy. I'll be honest, I kind of stumbled into it. We put on a program thinking it was going to be really small in Uinta County. And really the driving factor was just to get a group of women together with kind of a common ground and really develop a sisterhood. And it blew up into something a lot larger than we thought. So in March, in Evanston, we put on a program. We did a dinner, and we invited 4 young females within different sectors of the industry. So we had somebody from the sheep side, a couple of cow operations. We pulled in somebody from Extension that's got kind of some background in horses and cattle. And really all I asked them to do was tell your story.
Yeah.
And let's have a conversation with this entire group of women about, not only the different aspects in ag, but our involvement and how we as women can leave our footprint within ag, within kind of a man's world, because women are very thick in agriculture. So these ladies did a wonderful job really telling their story, and the conversations and the camaraderie that came out of that, I mean, I watched generational ranches and their women really get excited and see kind of this movement happening. And they were, picking the brains of these 20-year-old gals that were doing their thing, and kind of just watched all of these women get excited for the future and what else we can do. It's not just supporting the operation, whether it's doing the books or cooking dinner or whatnot, but we had women that they have their own podcasts and their blogs, and they've got, a little, I'm going to call it an Airbnb, but they're renting out sheep camps, or they're touching ag by selling calves to 4-H kids and trying to help them get their leg up. Or it was really just amazing to see this group of women come together and kind of light a fire in everybody's bellies about we're doing great things, and let's continue to do it. So that was kind of the beginning.
Sure.
And I've talked to you several times, Michaela, about this program and expanding it. Yeah. So like I said, it's in its infancy. There is nothing currently happening other than a lot of planning for the future. Right. We would love to continue kind of these small, I guess I'll call it a bit of a listening session. Right. Kind of continue that, as well as bringing in some education. Whether it's, talking about some economic stuff at these, and how do we do the books? How do we do data management on the operation? Unit cost of production, to what other avenues can we explore? Is it direct home sales, the farm to table with your products, or what other, money streams can we bring into the operation or the family through agriculture and the operation that's currently going on at home? So we are hopefully developing something that can go wide across the state, especially as we've gotten more female A&R educators across the state. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that's something important to call out too is, I think the programs will continuously evolve into what the people of Wyoming want to see. But then too, what you just said, we have an influx of women agriculture and natural resources educators across the board. I feel like there's always been a hefty amount in our 4-H educators, just naturally, just because of where that education lies with youth education, youth development, excuse me, but it's been more male dominated in that A&R, ag and natural resources roles, and we've seen, how many women educators are there now?
I think we've got 5. Oh, no, we've got more than that. We've got pushing 10, I think, across the state right now. I think we're outnumbering the men at this point.
Which is crazy to see. I mean, it's good crazy, but it's kind of crazy to see. Typically, it's, the inverse. So there's definitely, obviously, that need for those women in agriculture, women in agriculture programs across the state. So it's exciting to see those continue to expand. And expand not in just, hey, here's some bookkeeping classes, here's this one course, but what do we bring to the table? What do we need to see and talk about? Yeah. And here's this whole community for you, for whatever you need. And even if you need to take something off the table, or, like behind a closed door with somebody else, here's this connection for you. Yeah. Which I think is what got me so excited about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when we put that event on in March, what amazed me, we took reservations so we would have enough for supper, And I had about 10 men call me. Yeah. Can I come? Absolutely. And I was like, absolutely. This is not exclusive to women. I think really the whole point behind Women in Ag is supporting. Yep. It's not saying that this is a sorority and you have to be female. No. And so that night we had several men there to support their wives, their daughters. And what I've seen from our fellow educators, I was just talking to Rob Ziegler here a minute ago. Several of our male educators how can we help? Yeah. We want to help. We want to be involved in the programs and the teaching and really the whole movement. So,
well, I think you mentioned to me Micah Most in Johnson County. He wants to add the program up there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love to see the passion from every corner of the state at the moment.
Yeah.
And there is currently a Women in Ag program in Wyoming.
Yes.
In this organization. And we'd love to partner with them and really expand this entire thing. A lot of other extension programs across the nation have something similar, or it's kind of tailoring at least some of the programs specifically to developing education or really that bond, that sisterhood. So I think that's where we'd really like to take it. But you might have your male educator might be the one putting the program on.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Absolutely. So you briefly touched on it, but where do you see, obviously expansion, but where do you see the Women in Ag program headed? Yeah,
so like I said, we're really in the planning phase at the moment. I've reached out to you, Michaela, and several of our other colleagues across the state, and we're kind of at the point of really sitting down and hammering a good plan out. I think here in the next few months, you can expect to see similar programs happening in the southwest corner of the state, either Lincoln, you went to Sweetwater County, somewhere in there, or the northwest corner where you're at.
Right.
And then I think we'll probably see them pop up in all four corners. And then hopefully we can get one going kind of in the middle of the state. But
sure.
I think we'll probably start small, really kind of build the movement. So these probably start out with a few more of these more informal get-to-know-you nights. And then a lot of that is, talking to the women that come and saying, what would you like to see? Is it a cost on unit cost of production, or a class on unit cost of production, or are you wanting classes on nutrition?
Right.
Or, is it really developing a business plan for whatever maybe side hustle you're currently exploring? So a lot of that's really the needs assessment that needs to be done.
Yeah.
The conversations at stock growers and talking to our Wyoming cattle women's, and so it'll be a slow movement, I think. We want to start out right instead of rushing it more than anything.
Absolutely.
But I would expect at least a couple programs on the west side of the state in the next few months.
Those sound like phenomenal goals. I'm excited. So we're having I don't want to call it a test run, but we are having our first Women in Ag program night on November 1st in Park County, and we are modeling it, exactly like the Uinta County night. We're not going to have a full-fledged dinner. It is light appetizers and beverages, and we are going to have some guest speakers. Melissa Cook from Bighorn County is aiding in that planning effort, since, being community vitality and health there in Bighorn, she helps out Park County, and then being ag and natural resources, I do help out Bighorn County over there.
Yep.
And then that is location-wise a little TBD at the moment, but it is going to be there in Park County. We're nailing out the location, and then we've got the date and everything, but it is, like I said, going to be modeled after Uinta County's program there with the guest speakers. And
awesome.
Yeah. So we're super excited to have that, and then super excited to keep working with you on the future goals.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to get a team put together and really, I guess, make this kind of our pet project, but develop and grow it across the state, because we have a lot of female producers or supporters of the ag industry from all walks of life and all aspects of the industry. I mean, ag is a very, very broad industry.
It is.
So I'm excited to see who all's out there and get to know them, meet them, and keep pushing forward for the future of Wyoming ag more than anything.
Yeah. There is, when I was driving myself up here, when I was moving up here to Wyoming, one of the things I did was listen to a Wyoming podcast, which I don't want to mess up the name, so I will include the name and the Spotify link in the little info box we always include details and resources on for our podcasts. But they actually had a history of Wyoming ranching episode. And there are 2 ranches in Park County that are completely women-owned.
Yes.
And operated. So it is pretty neat, and just, kind of solidifies the need for...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And really, if you start looking at women-owned businesses that touch the ag industry, I mean, they're vast. We've got educators within our system that own silversmithing companies.
Yes.
That do leather work, that might have their own livestock, or they put up hay, or, I mean, it's very, very broad.
Yeah. Or they do rodeo photography in some way, you know?
Yep. I mean, when we talk ag, it's not just livestock and crop production.
No.
It is everything from
all the entities that support.
I mean, they might even own the co-op in town.
Sure.
That provides the fuel and the tires for their community. That's what's amazing about Wyoming. You can't walk into a town and not go ag business, ag business, ag business, because it is rooted deep into Wyoming and its history. So
yeah, fantastic. So in the perfect world, what are the, obviously you touched on the expansion of the programs and having some in the center of the state, all the other corners, but do you have any perfect world goals for this program?
Yeah, so I would love to see, a few years from now, us have a conference, whether it's associated with something like stock growers or a standalone within the state, that, we bring in some high caliber presenters to talk everything from personal development to maybe some of this education side. I would love to see us have a couple of courses that are probably like multi-program courses that kind of tailor to all sorts of things, whether it's the economic side or business development or how to feed your livestock, or really take everything that extension is and put it into these streamlined courses that would provide a certificate at the end. Or
that'd be great.
Maybe I've had discussions with a couple of female producers across the state about doing a women-only ranch camp, or AI schools, or really kind of harnessing that livestock production side. So the business, how do you make money doing this? But also, we're going to vaccinate today. We're going to AI today. We're going to, palpate cows, or have a quick course on calving and how to handle some calving difficulty stuff, but really tailor it more on the women's side. I believe a woman can do anything a man can do, but my husband is a lot stronger than I am.
Yep.
So he always makes fun of me how I might handle certain things, and I'm like, look, I've got to leverage all the body weight I've got, and all my strength. So
I literally have to take this 160 pounds and use all of it.
But I'm also not too proud to say I can't. I need your help. So I think there's a role for everybody, but we're not delicate flowers either. So
right. Well, and I think it's too a matter of, it's not an exclusion of, hey, we're not including them in. It's a matter of giving women an environment to, like you said, say, hey, you're not too proud. Yeah. But here's an environment to let you feel comfortable, and here's how to maneuver your body to get that calf on the ground and brand it, or AI your cow, or whatever the course is.
So I did an internship up at the Hoodoo in Park County for a summer, and I had the pleasure of working with one of the coolest women I've ever met. And we were calving to start. When I first got there, we calved out a couple 100 head. And I remember I was pretty strong and fit, especially when I was in college. And that first calf was on the run, and we needed to tag this bugger. And finally got a hold of this calf, and I went to break it just like my dad had always taught me.
Sure.
And she looked at me like, what are you doing? You're going to wear yourself out. And so she showed me how she does it. I don't break a calf down anyway now. But that, I'm like, why would I put all that weight on my back?
Bodies are different.
I can just tip it with some leverage. So, there is definitely some differences. And, a lot of women are still strong enough to break calves down. But
absolutely.
My husband makes fun of me on how I do it. And so that probably also leads to why I continue to do it that way.
Sure.
But,
No, I think that's great. What else?
Really, I guess my biggest urge for anybody out there, women, men, whatever.
Yeah.
If this sounds like something that interests you, or a movement that you would love to see continue, please reach out to Michaela, to myself, to your local educator. I don't care if it's Micah in Johnson County or Jedediah and Converse or whoever, if there's a program you'd love to see,
tell us.
Please let us know. I mean, and not only for this, but for Extension as a whole. If you'd love to see a class on something, we don't know it until we're told. I mean,
if you want to see a class on grasshoppers,
absolutely. Tell us. I mean, I'm going to probably pass that on to anybody but me, but if you're, that's what we're here for. That's what Extension is. We're the old school Google, but we are still relevant. But the biggest thing at the end of the day, we serve the communities of Wyoming.
Yep.
We work for you, not just because you pay our salaries, but we do work for you. So let us work for you to help you.
Yes.
We don't be irrelevant. So whatever you guys would love to know or see more of.
And we have offices in every county across the state, including the Wind River. Counties. Yes, true. And including the Wind River Reservation. So please, if you're not somebody to call or email, stop in our offices.
Yep, absolutely.
Don't hesitate. So, great. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Women in Ag. Maybe not first, but you heard it here. McKenna, Julian, Women in Ag, coming to a county near you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michaela,
for hopping on the podcast. This has been episode number 9, and we will include McKenna's contact information. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns on Women in Ag, don't hesitate to reach out to her. Reach out to your local extension office. And this has been episode 9, a University of Wyoming Extension podcast, Agriculture and Natural Resources podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michaela Getz. Thank you so much. As a reminder, this is the University of Wyoming Extension podcast. The university is committed to equal opportunity for all persons in all facets of the university's operations and is an equal opportunity / affirmative action employer. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about this statement, please don't hesitate to reach out to mgetz@uwyo.edu. and we can get your questions answered. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns about the podcast as well, again, don't hesitate to reach out to that email address, mgetz@uwyo.edu. Again, this has been a University of Wyoming Extension Agriculture and Natural Resources podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.